It's podcast time. Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of Almost Agreement. This time, it's a well-rested version of the show. Almost Agreement at gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. Check out what's going on there. We got a lot to talk about this week. The tax increase argument continues. The city passed further, blah, blah, blah. UT is buying more property, so welcome to the city of Knoxville, a subsidiary of the University of Tennessee. Company town. Here we go. Almost an agreement on your favorite podcast providers. Like, friend, share, follow, text your friends. Do what you can do to support the show. Whatever we can do to get the show going and more people listening. The whole point here is to try to get to the biggest and the bestest and, just keep people educated and involved so you know what you're talking about. Hopefully more than us, but at least get some reference out of us. So anyway, Almost Agreement people, here we go. Let's do a show.
Hey.
How you do?
I be.
You be. Anything new and exciting?
Oh, not much.
Oh, not much, he says. Not much, he says. So, I don't know. You got anything you want to fire right off the bat here? I got a few items on my to-chat list. A lot of repeat items as they continue to go through their processes, but, other stuff as well.
I got nothing breaking.
You got nothing breaking? I don't know. The only real option for the Juvie Center is going as planned. So the county commission, four members of county commission, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and whoever Tim Irwin selects as the juvenile court judge will be the new oversight board. They have to quickly hire an interim director. That interim director is signing a contract to finish the year. At which point the Tom Spangler Knox County Sheriff's Office will take over operations, and they will then hire a director. And that 5-member oversight board continues to exist anyway. And then 18 months...
Starting 2026.
Right, starting January, coming in here in January. And that'll last for 18 months. And then it sunsets, and then commission and the... I don't know, it depends on the how the timing breaks down. I'm assuming the current commission and... yeah, right? Because we'll have... Jacobs is not on the ballot in 26, right? There'll be a couple of commissioners that'll come in during 26. But then June, July of 27 is when the current format will end with the sheriff's office, and then the county has to have their long-term solution. Whether that's go back to an independent body with a 5-member board and whatever, whether it stays with the sheriff's office, whether it goes under the juvenile court jurisdiction, whatever. I don't know. The better I get to understanding this, the long and short of it is nothing really changes. It's just who this director directly answers to. There will be a director, there'll be an assistant or a deputy director of the juvenile court or the juvenile detention center, and then the staff that works there. That's all going to be the same budget, same stuff like that. None of that changes. It's just, does this director directly answer to county commission and the oversight board of 5, or do they directly answer to the sheriff's office, or do they directly answer to the juvenile court judge?
Yeah.
That's really the way I understand what is happening here is that's what's going to... I mean, there's potential way over on the other side that after this 18-month, 2 years from now, there is potential that some completely different format gets voted in, and that would be whatever that is whatever that is. But even that, likely at the end of the day, it's going to be a director, an assistant director, the appropriate number of staff for the, what's the word I'm looking for here, for the capacity of the center. It's just literally who they answer to directly. Whereas, I don't know, I guess at the end of the day, Bean never answered to anybody except his board-ish, but they didn't really pay attention, which was the complaint. I guess.
That's what kind of sounded like.
And so, but I guess when Mayor Jacobs had to ask the state to step in to get rid of him, that means that he wasn't answering to the mayor's office.
Right.
So, so that's the only, right. And so that's it. That's all that changes. And one of the little wrinkles here is that the Tennessee Department of Children's Services has the final say in whatever format county commission does for the long term. So if they do come up with some left field idea that comes out of their, task force trying to figure out what the best practice is and whatever, if they come up with a different format that's based on something non-standard, DCS can just say no if they want to.
Yeah, but how likely are they to push back against it?
I mean, I'd say
it'd have to be pretty egregious. They'd have to have
it's just
good reason to push back and be like, nope, come up with another idea.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the other idea could be.
Right.
Given, because DCS will continue to have access and regular visits and all that kind of stuff, no matter what version of things are. And so the only reason I could logically think of that they'd say no to some weird left field idea is that it would inhibit their ability to oversee the body as well.
Yeah.
Which apparently they don't do a very good job of anyway, so what's the matter? That's my guess. I mean, I'm still confused. Like I still want to I understand the specifics of why this was such an issue for. I don't even know why it's such an issue for Jacobs, to be honest, but I understand why this was an egregious enough issue to make us think about it, because it is. You're the director of a department. I mean, we could go back to the West football example too, but you're the director of a department of county government, and two of your employees tell the truth to a state oversight committee, and you fire them for it. I mean, yeah, that's pretty egregious. Like that would be similar to if the director of the Parks Department was getting audited by your favorite, what's it called? What's that office? What's your favorite?
Comptroller?
The comptroller comes by to audit Knox County Parks and Rec. He tells them the truth, which makes Mayor Jacobs look bad, and then Mayor Jacobs fires that director.
Right.
Like that would be it's a pretty awful thing to do, because it's like, well, it's not their fault they told the truth. It's your fault that your department isn't working right, or your government isn't working right, or whatever the hierarchy of things is. But again, 4 years ago, when this big, not Politico, NPR Nashville and ProPublica, right?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that did that big joint piece on this that was Tennessee juvenile detention at large, and a big chunk of that big piece was how, at minimum, how often that Mr. Bean liked to use isolation treatment or whatever they call it, solitary confinement on kids while in the detention center, was from 10 years ago. It was a couple of years ago the article came out, but that was data driven from years and years lining up to that.
Right.
So it's so to me it feels like it was pretty well known. And so again, to me, I feel like this was one of those, the Bean machine had to run its course. The political power that the Bean machine has had was already run out, and there was a back pocket want from the Jacobs administration to get rid of them. They just didn't have a good, blatant, current excuse. This popped up. They hammered it home. That's how we got where we are.
What was the reason pop up?
The firing of the two employees for telling DCS the truth.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I don't know. Just for our lawyer's sake, I'll say allegedly firing these employees for telling the truth through their oversight DCS thing.
Without cause.
Yeah. And so, so anyway, moral of the story is, realistically, nothing changes. Just the guy whose name on the building doesn't work there anymore. Because I kind of I started to make a joke on Scott's podcast. I stopped myself because it was a little too abstract. But so if you get hired to be the new director, did you get your name on the building? Did you just replace, is that the part of the gig? You get a paycheck and your name's on the building as long as you're the director? It's just the sign rotates, like a Wendy's.
Get a new sign.
Yeah, everybody get right. Whenever the new business comes in, it's a new sign. I don't know. These are the jokes, people.
It's possible, but it'll probably, unless he does something super terrible at some point, the name will probably stay on there, would be my guess.
I mean, right. Short of a giant, super massive expose of this. I mean, he was there for 40 years.
Yeah, I was about to say it.
40 years of detainees, do some collective, unauthorized biography of his time, of Bean's time at the detention center, and it's so egregious and fact-checkably awful that the county's we're going to bury that name.
Yeah.
But if that's already happened, those things have already happened, and they haven't pulled his name off it or pulled him out of the position until now. So I don't see him doing that. I think you're right. I think it's as long as that building stands for that purpose, it will be the Bean Detention Center, juvenile, whatever. I don't know, juvie hall. The sales tax, city passed on second reading the referendum to put the sales tax question on the ballot. We don't know what the question is yet. The law department will do their job writing that up. Law department works directly for American Canon. American Canon wants this thing, so it will be written in a way to advantage the yes, whatever the yes answer is. I don't know. I don't know if it has to be. I mean, it's got to be a yes no, but I don't know if it matters. Like if you like, I don't know that there's any obligation for that it has to be yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like so, it can be worded a way where no means yes, like the previous. The one we had a couple years ago about whether we were going to continue to elect the law director's office, and the county law director got to write that thing, which we went over in fine detail 55 times and figured out that no means yes. If you don't want, if you don't think that should be an elected position, then you were to vote no. If you did want it to be an elected position, you were to vote yes. Which is strategy, which I would think is what the mayor and the city law department do. Yes is the more likely answer. I think just naturally more people want to say yes to things.
Yeah,
I think that's statistically accurate, and so they're going to want to word the question in a way that says yes. What I find interesting in the conversation, though, is most of, I don't have an exact number, but of the 18 city council candidates, the majority of them have come out publicly against.
Really? Of county?
Of the city, the city candidate races that are going on right now. Anybody in the county who's been asked about it says no, we're not touching this, which is stupid. Jacobs, Kim Frazier, all you guys, this is dumb. Like I have broken down the reason why the county should go ahead and jump on board and get it on the ballot right now, and let the county vote for it. You've got your escape hatch if you're Jacobs. I never said I would. I said I would never raise taxes on you guys. I never said I wouldn't give you the option to raise taxes on yourself. But, it's like, hey, if the city passes this and we pass ours with them, then we're putting $20 to $30 million into Knox County schools, and Knox County, quote unquote, is only going to be paying $10 million, if that, in total. And Knox County will have a little bit of extra cash for their general fund, not much. Yeah. Sounds like a win-win. It sounds like obviously, in county government, we have more Republicans. They're more likely to not vote for it, and that's fine. But at least that argument can be played out. Let that be a votable argument. If I'm on commission, I can't understand why you wouldn't just say, yeah, let's just throw it on there and see what happens. I don't see how you're allowed to take a city councilor. Not that it matters. None of them get to run, or the mayor's office for that matter, in the city. You don't get to hold this against them as you said you weren't going to raise taxes, even if they did or didn't. I'm just saying, if you said I'm not going to, if I was a city councilor right now and I said my intent as a city councilor is to not raise taxes in the city of Knoxville, and this came across my desk, I'd still vote yes to put it on the ballot, because I'm not voting for raising taxes. I'm voting for giving you the option of raising taxes.
Right.
I think automatically
you have an out.
I think for me, and maybe this is one of my stylistic things, but for me, any ballot referendum, I'm like, yeah, put it on the ballot. I don't care what it is. You guys vote on it. Don't. I don't want to make this decision. Any option I can get where I can make it you guys officially making the decision, and it's not me, and not this group of 9 people, whatever this body is, making decisions that we think you guys will like. You guys make the damn decision.
In many cases, I think it would work well that way. But I think there's times if there was a time sensitive type thing.
But I mean, if it is something that it doesn't need to be done tomorrow, does some of it's too in the weeds, like this stupid, going back to the detention center thing, trying to make that a ballot initiative would be too much. You know what I'm saying? All right, Knox County, let's vote on how we want to do our thing, which A, it's time sensitive because he's out in August, but B, the 17 people in Knox County that actually understand what is happening, if that, and then every idiot in Knox County gets to vote on it, that doesn't really make any sense. But it's still, at the same time, but if it's something that's logical, I would absolutely, why wouldn't you just be like, yes, make it a ballot thing? If I'm in government in Knoxville or Knox County, I want to make the ballots every year that I'm there as big as possible. Spend some more time in the booth. Have a good time. Enjoy your day.
Let's get your true opinion.
Make it worthwhile. I mean, why not? That's small d democracy at work. You guys make the fucking decision. You chose me to help make some decisions, but when the option is clear that you guys are allowed to make it, let's let you guys make it. Anyway, the sales tax is going. It's officially done. It's going on the ballot. We'll see how they word the question. I assume they will be wording it in a way to try to make yes the easy box to check. So yeah, we'll see. But like what I'm most interested in moving forward, which one is this? I don't know. Backroom Knox has been really active all of a sudden on Facebook, and I really enjoy their. I don't know who. I've talked to them through their messenger, but I don't know if it's a dude or a girl or whatever it is. So the indefinite pronoun of they are. I'm really confused on what their stances are and stuff. They were very aggressive towards some of the protesters that we've had over these couple of different major organized protests that we've had. They're really bent out of shape right now. I find this one very interesting. They're really bent out of shape about the sales tax conversation in general. They think it's wrong, but they're really bent out of they're really bent out about the language. It's not a 0.5% sales tax increase. It's a 23% sales tax increase, which is technically true.
Yeah,
because 0.5% or 0.5 is 23% of 2.25, which is the current local option sales tax value.
Both numbers are right. It depends.
Right. But it's like really but they're lying to you. This is a 23% tax increase. It's like, yes. I mean, you're not, I mean, but there's no lie here. It's just literally we're adding 0.5% to the sales tax.
Right.
It's not, it is 22%, 23% of the current sales tax increase. Yes. But that does not make it.
But compared it to $1, which you would.
Right. It's a nickel.
Right.
It's not 23 cents on the dollar you're going to be paying in new sales tax. It's a nickel in new sales tax. But he's actively against it, and so that's the way to verb it in a way that makes it sound worse than it is.
Right.
But then he's also, I keep saying they are also upset. There's a new group, I don't know, an advocacy group called EAT Knoxville. Which they've been they've existed in the ether for a little while. I actually know a couple people that do it. I know the lead organizer of it, and it's existed in the ether, and it just got solidified into they have a tax identity and stuff like that. As far as it is a Tennessee nonprofit. They probably don't have they're not a 501c or anything like that, but they do. It is a Tennessee accredited nonprofit organization. All that stuff's come together in the last month or so. And they are very on board with the sales tax increase because everything they want to spend on the sales tax increase is stuff that, yes, Knoxville wants. They want a walkable, bike-rideable city of Knoxville. They want more emphasis on mass transit, which, there's some. I got some yays. I'll get him on the show at some point. Dustin Durham is the leader of the Yes group. He's a very excitable talker. I like him. I think he's a cool dude. Very excitable. A lot of ideas. It's really hard to hammer down which ideas are ideas because I met him a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, is when I met him, and bunch of ideas, bunch of different stuff. He got help. He did a little bit of work with Hollerboo with us, and it was really frustrating because he came up with this, and then it's well, okay, cool, yes, let's do those things.
It's I was just spitballing ideas.
Right. I was oh, I didn't know you were just throwing those out there for somebody else to pick up and take. I thought you were because he uses the phrase, I want to do this. And it's well, I want you to do that. Come do that thing as part of our thing. That'd be great. And then it just kind of went, and it's you're busy, man. I get it. But don't, be careful about it. It feels like you're volunteering yourself. And I don't want to feel like an asshole to start yelling at you for not doing what I thought you said you were going to do.
I thought I was just the idea guy.
And so we'll see how that translates. And I guess if you're more of an activist group and you're trying to do different things like the activist side of stuff, that's a more appropriate place for a personality like that. I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
You're not trying to do the legwork of getting a ordinance passed or the nitty gritty of X, Y, or Z. You're just trying to coalesce a group of people to make vocal a certain
put out inspirational ideas,
right? Which is, it's
aspirational,
right, ideas. Right. And it's one of those that you just got to I have to be careful when I talk to him because I'm like, yeah, let's do these things. And then all of a sudden I'm holding 5 bags trying to figure out how to do all these things by myself.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what I meant. So, but yeah, I'll get him on the show sometime to talk about all this stuff. Because, I mean, like, I don't know, like some of the stuff, I mean, I don't know, I don't remember the totality of their platform, but like sidewalks in the city, bikeable stuff, more green spaces stuff, which I don't know. Knoxville's pretty good on fucking green spaces. We can chill out on adding green space, personally. I'm not opposed to having more, but at the same time, it's like, I think Knoxville's like as far as like canopy, I think Knoxville per capita is one of the highest density canopy cities in the United States. As far as like literally like you take a picture from the sky, how much green you see instead of gray concrete or rooftop.
Right.
Like it's a higher percentage. Like Knoxville's got a pretty high percentage of green space.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a good bit, I guess, of like residential in actual city limits.
Well, it's not that. I mean, we've got tons of parks. So we've got large parks. So we've got tons of greenways that stake in through all these different little spots and spaces. I mean, the city. I think the city has done very well at capitalizing on dead space for green space. Like, was it Third Creek or whatever that runs like? So you go to the Lowe's on North Peters.
Yeah.
That Windsong movie theater that's empty. Like that's the beginning of that one trailhead. I think it's Third Creek Greenway, and it like snakes underneath I-40. And just goes in and then goes between two neighborhoods and like just all these little gap spaces, and it sneaks all the way. You can get all the way downtown functionally from there, but you can get most of the way down there in green, not on sidewalks or bike lanes on streets. It's like it goes all the way behind Walmart and all that stuff, and then it
gets funky around there near Kingston Pike and North Shore. Where you're kind of like off of it and actually on Kingston Pike.
Right, there's a couple of spots where you have to get on, but so you can start at the old Windsong Theater, and you can go on there, and you're in green space the whole time. It goes behind the Walmart and the Sam's and all that kind of stuff, and then it hops over onto the Gene Teague Greenway that goes behind the West Side Y, and sneaks in there, and then comes out by one of the elementary schools over by Middlebrook. The one that's on, not Morel. Like, what's Morel changed to once you go underneath 40?
I can't think of the name.
Francis? I think it's Francis.
Somewhere around in there.
Anyway, there's an elementary school right there, and so that Greenway comes out and goes between the elementary school and a church, and then ends up, you kind of have to go through a neighborhood for a little bit.
In like the West Hills area.
Right, and then it pops back out over by on Weisgarber. Somewhere in there off of Weisgarber. But like so you're all back in the woods the whole damn time, almost the whole damn time through that whole...
For a good chunk of it, yeah.
Anyway, my point being, I think the city did a good job of getting a lot of not really good functional space into these greenways and stuff like that. I do think the city's done well with that. Then we have the urban wilderness down the south side, which is a huge green space. Like you can bow hunt in right off of Imes, and
we've talked about that.
It's a state park next to Imes. You can bow hunt. The wildlife map, the hunter's guide, the annual hunter's guide, on its little block for that park, it says that there's supposed to be signage that walkers, bikers, and joggers are supposed to be in their orange.
Right.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
I would be a little scared to let one loose.
I'd say majority of the public doesn't realize that, like, it's those 3 days out of the year that I can get shot out here.
Yeah. It's only a bow, though. I mean, it'll still kill you. But it's still bow, not, I'm not putting a 270 round through you. Anyway, so I don't know. I think this. The other point I was touching on is that most of the candidates are vocally coming out against this tax, which says to me that somebody, some street level research is telling you that the constituents don't like it. Like, because I mean, because I think about it like this. It's like, okay, I want you to vote for me, and so I get like this is as a candidate that is not an incumbent. You can answer this however you want to. You can't really get judged by it at the end of the day because you're not going to be the one you didn't vote to put it on the ballot. You're not going to be the one to vote to put it in place. The public is. So if I say I don't think it's a great idea and the public votes to put it on there, it's like, okay, that's fine. The public chose that and I support that. And I will spend the money the way the public, the way the city said they were going to spend it when you voted for it. You could save face pretty quickly and easily like that as a candidate. Or you can go the other way. It's like, I think it's a good idea. I think it'd be great to have this extra funding to do all these extra projects. Come election day, you win. You're win. Like, it'd be weird, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, you win your election, but the referendum loses, but you were supportive of it. It's like there's a little disjunct there as far as the voter, I would think. I mean, there's other issues, obviously, to voters.
Right.
But, there's a little bit of a disjunct there. But you can easily, again, save face because you're not currently in the seat. You don't have to answer for what the city council did. You just say, hey, I thought it was a good idea. I would have liked to have been able to help, allocate that funds to my district for X, Y, and Z, but the city decided we didn't want it, so we'll go on without it. It's an easy save face, but I still think, whether it's them going around door knocking and shaking hands and meeting people and talking to people about it, like, I feel like the only logical conclusion is that the public that they've interacted with, either directly or through some surveying or whatever, is saying no.
Yeah, it could just be their close circle of people that are involved in those organizations anyway.
Yeah, but again, they're at least guessing that the majority of people are saying no, even if they don't have data behind it.
Not necessarily, they could just be putting out their opinion and their idea of what good or what bad it would do.
I love your faith in politicians. I don't. I think it's a big enough issue that you're going to be intentional with your statement, and if you don't have If you unless you have really strong feelings on it, it's not a true or untrue. I would think the logical political move would be to support or be against how you feel the public is on the topic. You want to ingratiate yourself. You want people to feel like they could trust your decision making. I'm going to go publicly say what you're saying to your friends or family at home. I think that would be the logical political move. And it's not a lie. It's just this issue is irrelevant to me. I have nothing to do with it. Like, personally, when I go on election day, am I going to vote for it or not? That's a somewhat relevant question. But I still think the politician's answer is going to be what I think you are going to do is how I'm going to say it in public.
So I get my initial statement was I was thinking more about the two organizations you've mentioned. I forgot you were talking about politicians.
Oh, yeah,
voicing their opinions.
Yeah, no, like yes, Knoxville, absolutely. They absolutely are 100% on board with it. They want people to say yes to it. I don't know if that's where the name come.
Right.
Like it is a little suspicious, the timing of their official, like they officially debuted on the Knoxville advocacy scene this week, with Dustin appearing before City Council, encouraging them to put this on the ballot. And it's like, it's kind of weird. I knew it existed, or the plans for it were already in motion like a year ago, but I'm sure the mayor's office had the plans for this about a year ago too. It's not improbable or impossible that A and B had some communication on the topic well prior to this, and this is part of the concerted effort by the mayor's office to get this pushed through. But my point being, though, is that my assumption by the candidates' actions is that they are hearing that city residents don't want it. And that's why they're out there publicly saying they don't think it's a good idea.
You think the teams are already out knocking on doors?
Yeah. I mean, shit, Larson's already running for mayor. So is, what's-her-face from school board that we hate, Betsy. Betsy Henderson's already running for mayor, and that election's not till next year.
Yeah.
That's August of 2026. Actively running out there doing stuff. Which reminds me, I wanted to show. I don't think I sent that other one to you. We'll come back to Chris Davis and his bad hockey team. Did I send this thing to you?
No.
Knox County Conservative Republicans?
No.
It's a waiter project, sort of. I don't know. He's associated with it. I asked him, I can say on the record, like, I have fact-checked it. I said, hey, is this one of your things? Like, that's literally, like, I mean, it's right there. This one of your projects, ? And he said, yes, but he doesn't manage the page. And then he says, Compass has reported in the past about his involvement. And it's like, I don't pay that much attention to you, man. Like, I don't remember every time you're referenced by other things about what you're involved in. Because he spun up a group to oppose the city property tax increase a couple years ago. Like just like right as it starts happening, he spins up a group, and it was like I can't remember what it was called. Something against property tax Knoxville. Something I can't remember what it was called. Damn it! It was pretty. It was pretty catchy. Like it was good and accurate. It was a good 3-4 letter. The 3 or 4 words first letter made a new word.
Yeah.
Thing. An acronym, is that the right thing?
Yeah.
But they held a forum this week, and they were bragging about it on their Facebook page, and it spurred me to re-invite him onto the show again, and I'll just see if I can get him in again. Because it's like, again, I asked him, like in the text thing, I asked him, I said, who would you suggest I talk to? I'm really trying to understand the current conservative philosophy. And I said, on the record, of course. Like I clarified that I wanted this on the record. And he said he would do it after June 30th. So whatever happens, what's happening between now and then, I'm not sure that negates his want to speak publicly on the topic, but
could just be on vacay.
Yeah, I mean, it could be lots of things. And so I didn't press it. I'll take the yes. But yesterday at 9 o'clock, they posted, wow, if you missed the 7th and 8th district meeting, you missed out big time. We had Betsy Henderson, candidate for Knox County Mayor. She was awesome. Answering all the questions, ran out of time. Like, there are literally like 15 people in the room.
Yeah.
That's two districts.
Sounds like they rented. Hopefully they didn't rent out a room that small for this.
2 districts. And legit, and Betsy replies to it. She was honored to be there, and then somebody else references who else was there. I can't remember. But what's his name? The District 7 school board guy, Steve Triplett, was there. Like, there were like 3 sitting elected officials in the room. And there's, like I said, there's like, you look at the picture, like, unless I'm crazy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 if you count Betsy Henderson. That's Steve Triplett, I'm pretty sure, right there with the
who about the person taking the picture, too?
Who's balding. I counted them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's a couple more people standing in the back, 25, 30 people. But I mean, the long and the short of it here is the people in the room were winning elections because of the other people in the room. This weird little concoction of 30 people here are supporting winners, so they're part of the process in some way, shape, or form. If that's all it takes to win District 7. District 7 was so gross. That was one of my most upsetting school board races. That should have been Oakley, Dominique Oakley. She was actually a logical human being. But so yeah, they're arguing over the sales tax increase too, and different people have different stuff, and so I do get I get the feeling, I haven't asked him yet, but I get the feeling that Mr. Eric is on team, or Betsy is on team Eric, or Eric's on team Betsy, whichever way you want to verb that. At least his Facebook page that he doesn't manage is actively supporting Betsy, and I know there's a couple of people on here that have said that, Larson's an idiot and whatnot.
Is that their most recent posts?
What?
I don't feel like half of them were, look what the Dems are doing. We got to get ready.
No, I mean, so this one was from yesterday, and then the one before that was from yesterday, June 25th. So 2 days ago, Knoxville City Council approves the mayor's proposed sales tax referendum. So, I mean, okay. So here's what the Knox County Conservative Republicans, all 10 comments, think about it. So they literally asked, what are your thoughts on this, Knox County Conservative Republicans, that the city proposed the sales tax referendum. It now goes to the November ballot. You knew it was coming after the baseball stadium arrangements. Okay.
Huh?
This other person says, time to not only vote no, but to vote new real Republicans into open seats. The only way this is going to change is if we vote new blood into the city council. People with backbone and intelligence ask the difficult questions and hold the city back from stupid, drunk spending of taxpayer money. I would love to see, I could see from this thing, and this is something I'll talk to Eric about. I'll try to remember, is because one of the things I've seen a couple different times looking through these guys is they complain about city spending. And I'd be curious to know, like, I mean, you can shit on the baseball stadium. I'm good with that. No problem. I'm not going to complain about you shitting on that one. But I'd like to see what city spending that they have real issue with. I know one of the ones is that the city and county, for that matter, do have an annual amount that they give to Visit Knoxville or the Knoxville Chamber or whichever one it is. And Visit Knoxville or the Knoxville Chamber or whatever one is an official partner of Knox Pride Parade. And they're very upset that tax dollars are going to a Pride event, which it's a 6 or half dozen. It's really not.
I doubt it's a fraction of their budget that goes to it.
Visit
they spend
Knoxville
a lot more money
doesn't
on.
spend any money on Knox Pride. Visit Knoxville includes Knox Pride. They do promote Knox Pride in part of their total promotions of things because they promote a lot of the stuff the city does.
Right.
That's literally the job is Visit Knoxville. Hey, if you want to come hang out and see a really cool Pride Parade, we've got one here.
Here's all the stuff that goes on.
Hey, if you want to come see a really cool Italian festival, come here. Hey, if you want to see a really cool football weekend, come here. That's literally what they do. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to see a good fishing tournament, we're holding the biggest one here. Yeah. That's their job. That's what they do. And so, you know, it's weird, though, because, like, some events, Visit Knoxville is listed as a sponsor or a participating sponsor or something like that, and some they aren't. Like, Visit Knoxville did promote Holaroo for me. Like, they included it on their calendar, but they didn't do any real promotion. But like, I've talked to them from time to time, but they don't seem to be interested in supporting it other than to say, yeah, this is a thing that's going on that weekend. Like, they list it on their calendar. Right. But they don't, I don't know what all they do.
Which could be considered supporting it. It's right. Like, well, we're semi-advertising for you too.
Right. But like, you know, they're like, you see it, like, Visit, like they're like,
their logo or
right, their logo pops up on different flyers and banners, and like WBIR will be doing an ad for whatever presented by Visit Knoxville. Yeah, and I'm curious what presented by means, because I know what presented by means to me and other promoters that I've worked with. That's usually presented by sponsor. Is usually your top sponsor. So right. If you've got a tier of, you know, if you're if you have like gold level sponsors at 5,000, platinum level sponsors at 10,000, your presenting sponsor is like double of what everybody else does. So like, if I had an event like that, a presenting sponsor would be like $75,000. Yeah. But it may just be, you know, it may also be though that it's a partnership in the sense that if you get attached with Visit Knoxville, that is a thing that it gets you access to other people that do sponsorship stuff. It makes it easier for you. Like my Guinness thing, if I'm going to try to set this world record, like having Guinness involved with it changes my ability to sell the product. Having Visit Knoxville might that quote unquote presenting it. If Visit Knoxville is presenting it, it might make it easier for the promoters of that to reach out to a food city and get a sponsorship, or to work out a deal with the band that's going to come perform and headline it, and maybe get a discount off the band, or get this person to help out, or like it may be that kind of thing more than it is they actually put money in. It's just that they open their books, they open their black book to you to work your event.
That's a good point.
Which and to me, I would like access to that black book, because that's worth a lot. Yeah. You know,
there's a lot of big companies out there looking for money to spend. It's just right. Don't have contact and don't know them to begin with.
Right. And so, anyway, moving on with more things that the Knox County conservative Republicans think about the city council putting a tax thing on for you guys to vote for is Yepers. No, it's rigged. Who is voting for this? And look into the reason why they voted. There has to be a payout. So
they're paying for votes.
Lauren Ryder, for you to have voted to give your constituents the ability to vote on a tax increase, you got some cash in your pocket. I'm not buying you lunch next time. Oh wait, that's not true. I've never bought Lauren lunch. I've never bought Lauren anything. That would be illegal. I've never bought her anything. I make jokes about it every time I see her. Like, I always joke about, like, I'd buy you lunch, but you can't let me. Someone else asked, why do they need this increase? It's beyond me to understand their greed. They need to fund the pedestrian bridge since the Trump administration is clawing back the federal grant. That's not bad. I mean, that's an interesting one. They should have thought about all that. Wait, they should have thought about all the what it's prior to what? They should have thought about all the what it's prior to committing to the bridge. Am I reading that right? I feel like I'm having a stroke when I read those words. They should have thought about all the what-its prior to committing to the bridge. I think what they're trying to say is they should have thought about all that shit before committing to the bridge, because they thought they should have thought maybe Trump will win this election and take our funding away from us. Okay, that's what they're saying. Everybody thinks that they can blame Trump for everything, but truly it's mismanagement done by elected officials. They should always think of the money aside. It's their own household budget. Yeah, you need to go back to school. I don't know what else. My buddy's dad, who is like fully senile, writes better comments on posts than this.
Does it say how many people have followers or whatever in the main group?
1,200 followers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a ton in a $500,000 county, but it's probably mostly active.
So it's relatively new, or they've been around for a little while?
I think they're relatively new. They have a website. Let's check out their website. Maybe sign up for their newsletter.
Because enough is enough. It's a great slogan.
Yep. See, this is what drives me crazy. So on their page, because enough is enough is their slogan. There's a link to sign up for their newsletter or whatever. There's an article written by one Lori Lennon on the city council candidate forum that the GOP, the party, the actual party, posted. And then it says, what Knox County conservative Republicans are about. They're about supporting the Constitution, limiting government, and promoting liberty. False. If Eric's behind it, that's not what Eric believes. We've had this argument about like land use. Like how is the government telling me how I can use my land, limiting government? Or promoting liberty, for that matter. Either one of those fits that category.
Yeah.
So grassroots taking direct action to local and state level. Taking action at the county commission level, taking action at the district school board level, engaging voters year-round to promote freedom, defeating leftist Democrats. And they've got some very communist art. Like that's like the only bit of color on this whole fucking page. So, I mean, that makes me want to be a Democrat. Like, there's a little color there. Everything else is bland and black and white. Not to mention their PNG images that they didn't take the checkered background out of. Supporting conservative Republicans in general elections. Supporting conservative constitutional candidates in Republican primaries. The power of resolution. A resolution defending constitutional rights to self-defense and supporting public liberty. A resolution supporting education, freedom, and more school choice for families. That's another one I want to talk to Eric about. Give me the conservative argument, and it's going to be choice. And then resolution supporting a district-nominated candidates being elected by that district voters. That's already happened. That's the one that Eric got Elaine Davis to put in, and this is the first election cycle we get to see it in action. Which I will tell everybody now, watch District 3. Everything else, no other district has a chance of a Republican presenting individual winning, other than District 3. So anyway, again, I'm not trying to promote I'm doing the AC thing that I hate. I'm not trying to promote a different thing. I'm just trying to point out how dumb these people are. Like it doesn't. I just don't like. Again, it's the philosophy thing that I can't stomach. It's this philosophy, and if you don't like it, leave. That's the one about Eric that really pisses me off. If you don't like it, leave. You are literally building coalitions of people to restructure things in the image that you want, which means it's not how it fucking is. I mean, that's literally what that's what their website is. They've got what do they call them, resolutions or whatever. They're getting these resolutions done. Those resolutions are literally to change things to the way you want them.
It's big government. It sounds like it.
But if you don't like it, get the fuck out. It's like, well, if you didn't like it, why the fuck are you here? Like, if you don't like the way it is, why are you trying to change it?
Yeah.
You should leave. Is that not the same logic? You want to change it to this way? Okay. Do your political things and do that. But don't run around with this fucking get out argument. It's fucking rude. Because it can it can be used infinitely against you. Why did you come here? To change things into the way you want them. You shouldn't have come here. It's the same argument.
But none of those people even live in the city either.
Some do, some don't.
We're county residents. We just,
I don't know
we wish the city was more like the county.
Listen, I'm going to try to pitch him to run me as mayor on my platform of Metro, which they should like. I mean, Republicans should like the Metro idea because they win countywide races. And if we're Metro and they're all countywide races, like there is no American Cannon, it would be Mayor Kane.
Yeah.
Maybe not individually, but if we were Metro 10 years ago, we would have Mayor Jacobs as the Knoxville city mayor. We would have it's really weird to me though. Like if you think about it, both. There's 5, 6. Yeah, there's both the. Are there 3 at large in the commission? No,
don't ask me.
There's 3 at large in city council, and I think it's either 2 or 3 in county commission. And I don't know. I guess the argument always is everybody on city council is a Democrat. Yeah, well, let's just answer the fucking question instead of guessing it. City of Knoxville government. Boom. City council. Knox County Commission. Listen to me, Google shit. Okay. So county commission or city council is Lynn Fugate, Debbie Helsley, Lindsay a little bit, right? I guess that's Lynn over there, sweet old lady. But Tommy, if any of these were running for a that's Grant over there. I need to go. I need to have a meeting with that guy. Anyway, if any of these people were running for a county seat where it was a partisan election from the get-go, Tommy Smith runs as a Democrat. Andrew Roberto would run as a Democrat. Seema Singh would run as a Democrat. Lauren Ryder would run as a Democrat. Charles Thomas would probably run as a Democrat. Gwen McKenzie would definitely run as a Democrat. Lynn Fugate was question mark. Debbie Helsley, Amelia Parker would absolutely both be running. Debbie Helsley ran as a Democrat against Mayor Jacobs in the last
county race.
City council or county commission. At large. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So only 2 at large. Larson J., who he calls himself a Republican. Republicans call him a Democrat. And Kim Frazier calls herself a Republican, but she's kind of weird too if you get down to it. If you really do. She's a not anti-development, but she is a controlled development Republican. But so again, I don't know. That's interesting. Now that I'm looking at it, I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't really broken it down and thought about that. They always say the conversation is always every county. So Tom Spangler is a Republican. Mayor Jacobs is a Republican. All the judges are Republicans. If it's a countywide race, the Republican wins, which is still technically true because Kim ran with an R next to her name. Larson runs with an R next to his name. But of the two, Kim primaried against a much further right Republican and beat him. That was the D1 guy, the guy that runs the youth sports lab.
Yeah.
Where the D1 guy was very, he was very in the Eric Wader school of Knox County Republicans. And she ran against him and beat him. Now, she's a well-connected freshman candidate, for lack of a better word.
Right.
Because, rookie candidate maybe is a better word. Because she has been in homeowners, in neighborhood groups and different committees, and she was part of the Recode Knox project as a citizen advocate for the Recode Knox project. She's been well involved with a lot of county government prior to her running for this seat. But she's still the more centrist candidate to get out of the primary, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And so it's not the Betsy Hendersons and I'm trying to think of the Nick Ciperos of the world that are winning these at-large seats. It's the more centrist Republicans that are winning these at-larges. But either way, when you get down to the technical brass tacks of it, Knox County government, if I got my metro the way I wanted it, it would functionally look a lot more like county commission than city council. Which means Eric should want to run me as that and it's also less government. That's something that he says he likes. I would actually be pro-liberty and anti-telling people what they fucking can do with their shit. Whether he likes that or not is a different conversation.
That's a different shade of red.
I know. Mine is a yellow. Gold is the color. A gold porcupine. I don't know.
Careful, I'll prick you.
I don't know. Like I mean, this guy. Like the porcupine's intentional. I get it. Like the reason why the Libertarian Party picked the porcupine.
Yeah.
It's like the don't tread on me steak, but if you do tread on me, I'll fuck you up. But I don't know. I don't know. I want my metro. Let's just get it done. So, because the other one I want my metro for is I would like to have the totality of Knox County in a flat-out, full-blown political war with the University of Tennessee. I'm enraged. It continues, and it enrages me. The UT is expanded to Maplehurst. Do you know where Maplehurst is?
Heard of it, but
It's the weirdest little bohemian little mess. Like it is downtown proper. So you know where the big church is on the corner of Henley Street and Cumberland? Okay.
Right there next to the bridge.
Yeah. So you're going down. So if you're going down Cumberland, you go through campus part of Cumberland, like the campus proper part.
Right.
You come down to the bottom of the hill. On the bottom of the hill, the left side is where World's Fair Park starts, and you have that train bridge that goes over your head.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit that train bridge, all the way to Henley Street, on the right side of the road to the river is Maplehurst.
Okay, yeah.
And so
that's a real eclectic, older neighborhood.
Yeah, and it's just weird. It's just a weird spot. Accessibility is weird. Some students live there, but it's not all students, which is kind of enraging that we moved a bunch of students across the river when they had a whole bunch of space there. Anyway, this is the most amazing little scam that the university has figured out on how they're doing this. There is a company out of Atlanta. It's called Tough, I think. They are a university acquisition assistant developer. So essentially what they do is they sit down. UT's puts all the real money up in this game. But this company comes in, and they are going to buy like 6 acres of Maplehurst. Again, picture this in your head, people, how small this neighborhood is. I don't know what the total acreage of this little block that I just illustrated for you guys is. It ain't much. And half of it's a cliff because it goes from Cumberland, Henley Street level to river level in there. So anyway, like apparently Maplehurst was named as such because there was a prominent businessman in Knoxville named Stanson, whom built his mansion and named it Maplehurst there. And his son went on to be a Supreme Court justice and tried the first and only in the history of the Supreme Court. Before he was a justice, he was an attorney general, assistant attorney general of the United States. And there was some weird post civil rights Act case that brewed out of Chattanooga that the Supreme Court got pissed off about and said, we're going to try it in here. We're not going to some random courtroom. It's in here. The only time in history, or at least the first time in history, that the Supreme Court actually held a case. It wasn't an appeal. It wasn't a legal question. It was literally a trial that they held in the Supreme Court, which they can and do. Like they can always do. It's always been in the books. They could always do it. They just don't.
Right.
But this one they held there because some crazy story about like the jailer in Chattanooga just let a mob come in and drag this guy out, and they hung him off the bridge down there in Chattanooga.
Damn.
Because he was accused of raping some white girl, black guy thing.
Right.
Post civil rights, the good old days, right? The golden era. Anyway, no, just kidding. So this company, what they do is like basically they're going to buy 6 acres of Maplehurst, and they're going to manage that property on behalf of UT. Which really what they're doing is they're saving UT all the headache and trouble of dealing with the current residents. Because if you've got an existing lease, the new buyer has to honor the existing lease and stuff like that. And so basically they're just going to hold the property until all these different leases start falling off, and then they're going to sell the individual plots back to UT. Or they'll build something new on it on behalf of UT. But they don't do, like, they just do whatever they're told by UT, but UT doesn't own it.
Yeah.
So the upside of that is that the city gets to continue to collect property tax on this 6 acres in downtown Knoxville. The downside of that is 5 or 10 years from now, somewhere in that gap, the University of Tennessee will take it as official property and then lose all that tax revenue for the city on that.
Probably turn it into a parking lot.
Maybe. But, it's just like, it's just another example. Also, I think this same company is assisting the university in taking over the University Commons Walmart building on the other side of campus by the rugby fields. You know what I'm talking
about?
And which that one's different. That one's got a couple of different weirdisms to it, but it's the same thing. They're going to use it for some student entertainment stuff, something. Don't know exactly what they're going to put in there, like a workout center, some more
do the same thing.
Parts of rec sports.
Phase out those businesses that have leases there.
No, it's just the Walmart. So that's the weird. The weirdism is that whole complex was built like condos for commercial. So it was all built uniformly like any shopping center, but Publix owns Publix.
Okay.
It's not Publix renting it from. Walmart owns that. The UT is going to buy that building from Walmart.
Huh.
Like the Fieldhouse Social, Randy Burleson owns that building. And I guess that piece of land. And so it's a little bit different. Like usually that's a a lot of times that, like, when, especially with a Walmart or something like that, a lot of times some Walmart shell will own that entire complex. Like, Walmart's quit doing those, though. They don't do that a lot anymore. It used to be normal where Walmart would be like the center and they would have shopping center on either side kind of thing. They don't do that a lot anymore. Usually it's just a Walmart out in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, all the ones that we used to have are now been sold off and they're Big Lots or Dollar Generals or whatever. Like, think about it.
Most of the Walmarts that I've known have always been kind of standalone. Usually with the Sam's Club not far away.
Yeah, no, I mean, the one up in Halls, there used to be the one in Halls, and that's where the World King is now. And it's a whole shopping center.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that one.
I'm trying to think. There's the Walmart that used to be down on Chapman Highway. That's now the Comcast call center.
I guess there's the one on Clinton that I think it's a part of kind of like a shopping center.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that used to be more normal for Walmarts.
Okay.
But usually Walmart or Walmart's property holding company would own that whole complex. And they would be the landlord for the rest of it, but it wasn't Walmart proper. It was like some subsidiary of their land holding things. But anyway, this tough company is it's gross. Like, it's gross. It's gross for a lot of reasons. Again, I make my jokes about Company Town. Like, comparable universities, you get to Georgia and Athens, you get to, Ole Miss and College Station. Is that right?
Nah, no idea.
I think it's College Station. Texas A&M's College Station as well. Like, flagship university for the state, for the university of the state of whatever's flagship campus in a small town of 100,000 people when school's not in. Less than, like, barely 6 figures population without the students. The Knoxville ain't that. We're not that. The University of Georgia runs Athens. Whatever the University of Georgia wants runs Athens, Georgia. And that totally makes sense. Because when school's in session, there are like 40-something% of the total population of Athens, Georgia is Georgia students. Like, just on a democratic basis, if they voted, which they don't. But if all the students voted, like, just on a democratic basis, it would make sense that the University of Georgia and what the students want Athens government would do. Like, just on a small d democratic premise. But if you took that same footprint and did it here, the 30,000, 40,000 students or whatever that UT has when school's in, or even the 50 if you want to include some of their remote students that technically run off of this campus, are 10% of Knox County, of the municipal population, the way I see it. And this is part of this is my fault because I see us as we already are a Metro Knoxville. We have been for years. This is just dumb talk that we keep these governments separate. It drives me crazy. It is. Come on, man. I mean, hell, you probably still say you live in Knoxville and you're in another county over. Depends who you're talking to, I know.
Question just doesn't come up. It don't matter.
Where are you from, man? I mean, like where am I? Like, people ask me where I'm from, I say Milwaukee, unless they have any familiarity with Wisconsin.
Right.
Like, then I'll break it down. It's Racine, it's the county next to. You know, but like, I mean, actually, Racine actually has some. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm just a homer for it. We had the Racine Peaches from the League of Their Own. But there are two significantly major companies that everybody knows whose home offices are in Racine. That's why we were in Racine. It was Case Harvesters International, Case Tractor Company, Case Construction Equipment.
Right.
That's where my dad worked, and that's why we were in Racine. And then Johnson & Johnson's home office is in there.
Huh.
Frank Lloyd Wright built their office designed their office building. It's a crazy office building. Racine had some weird, cool stuff because of some of the weird little conflicts. Like Frank Lloyd Wright, there was a God, what is it called? It was a theater in Racine, and it was a gold flying saucer. Like it was like the stereotypical watching a sci-fi movie, that flying saucer shape in gold on big red legs, 3 big red legs, and it was like a theater inside. And so like we had a couple of different field trips there when I was a kid. And then I also went to Milwaukee for into the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee for a field trip one time. And then I got suspended on a lie.
Oopsie.
That is one of the most damaging events in my life for my relationship with my mother. Some security guards said they saw me spit off the balcony. The principal said, okay, and I got back and I got 3 days of in-school suspension or whatever. And I told my mom I didn't do it. She didn't believe me. And I didn't do it, like legitimately. It's been fucking 30 years. I don't have any need to continue the lie. I did not do it. I remember leaning over the balcony and seeing friends down in the lower point and yelling at them and pointing and stuff like that, but I did not spit off the balcony.
Did you have a lisp at the time or anything?
I might have spit old. I might have been like, hey, Sam! And I might have had a little whatever when I said, Sam!
All right.
But, like, I don't know. If you're 30 feet below me, I would think that if you're going to accuse me of spitting, you see that lip and whatever where I go, not me speaking and a little spit will come out while I spoke.
I probably just saw you leaning over and they're like, I must have been that guy.
Right. So, anyway, fuck those guys. Fuck Pabst Theater for that traumatizing event of my youth. Anyway, I don't like it. I will continue to rage against it, and I think it's the most destructive thing that is happening locally. This tax thing is no big deal. This stupid detention center conversation is no big deal. All this other crap, just put it aside. The most important thing that you should all be talking about and spending all your energy on is figuring out how. And I made the joke to Becky a couple times, like, how do we stop UT from taking all of Knoxville? And she just kind of laughed it off. And I don't know what I don't know what the legal answer is. Like, in the hierarchy of things, the only thing above them is the federal government and the railroads. The city of Knoxville really has no, like, as long as the university can pay for, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, once it gets there, it's just a circle. The circle moves every year. Every year, the circle goes to a half mile beyond where the current border is for the University of Tennessee campuses. And if there's if there is property in that area that the UT wants, they can make an offer on it. And if the person sells it, then it is now UT property. That's that.
It automatically goes dry.
Yeah. You know, and again, but like, what's the stop? Like, why would you stop?
If there's land available and it's up for sale, you can't be like, I'm sorry, school, you can't buy it unless somebody just legitimately outbids them.
Oh no, but can Knox County government or the city of Knoxville government? Probably not. But can the state legislature be like, "Hey, you guys need to chill the fuck out. You don't get to buy all of Knoxville."
I can't think of any kind of legally legitimate reason.
The state of Tennessee can do whatever the fuck they want. The University
they
of
do
Tennessee
whatever they want, but I mean, they would have to have some kind of legitimate reasoning behind it to implement some kind of legislation that would limit the growth.
Okay, so hey, university, part of your funding from the state comes from sales tax revenue. Sales tax revenue is obliged when people are buying things. We need people to be able to buy things. We need residents. Those residents need to pay property tax so that their local government takes care of stuff. Or hell, just forget that. It was a way too complicated version of it. Hey, the roads that get to your school that aren't, the interstate or a state highway, all those other roads that go in and around, all the places where your faculty lives and stuff like that, all that infrastructure is paid for by your local government, not by us. If you keep eating up all the property, your local governments aren't going to have property tax to keep those roads up. You can do it doesn't need to be like a legislative thing. It just needs to be like, hey, Boyd, stop. Hey, UT, please stop. And then if it needs to come, if you need to bring a stick along to finish the conversation, then figure out what the stick is. But
that's what I'm saying. I don't think there is a stick that they can use.
There's absolutely a stick they could do. Fuck. UT is part of a group of universities right now who are trying to build a new accreditation system because the current one's too woke. There's a Southeastern SESCOC, I think is actually legitimately what its an acronym is.
Right.
It's a Southeastern schools, colleges, and university, whatever accreditation society or whatever that is recognized by the U.S. Department of Education as a reputable accrediting agency. They are currently all the major universities in the Southeast get their accreditation through them. Mr. DeSantis, among other people, have decided that they're too woke. And they won't bring the hammer down on the universities for teaching things that Mr. DeSantis doesn't want taught. And so they've just decided they're going to bring a new accreditation organization into existence, which Boyd with UT has not been quite as aggressively on board with DeSantis' idea, but they are, I can't remember how Boyd worded it, but it was basically like, yeah, if there's another place that will accredit us, we'll take it. It doesn't hurt us to have multiple options to get accreditation for our colleges and curriculum and stuff. But it's because the current one's too woke, which again, whatever, that's fine. You can make the argument on or off about that thing, but it's like, and Boyd has been actively vocal about he's going to grow the university and infinitum. Like, he has no intent of stopping growth. That's what he wants to do. That's his business solution, and I get it from his logic. I understand that is the way he thinks he makes things better or a sign of him doing a good job is growth. I could see it from the Board of Trustees standpoint that more students, more graduating students, because if nothing else, it's a bigger pool of people that donate back to the university because they hammer the shit out of any of us that ever graduated from there for donations. One time, one $5 donation, and I get fucking mountains of shit in the mail about more donations.
I got you on that list, so like he did it once, we can probably get him to do it again.
I'm going to do it again, but it's only because it's part of my registration to go back in March Alumni Band.
Yeah.
I've got a gym membership now. I'm working out with the whole intent on being able to carry that drum again. I've been focusing on my legs and my back so I can.
But you have to donate to the school to be
part of it's like $120 or whatever to register to go to do alumni band.
Right.
I think it might have been 5. It might have been 20 of the 120. I don't know. Some portion of it was a donation to the General Scholarship Fund. I didn't have a choice. It just that's part of the shtick. I just want to go to a UT game for free and hang out and do the band stuff. Can be a band dork for a day. But anyway, I like it. I don't know. Am I crazy? Like we have there is no recourse for the city of Knoxville or Knox County for that matter about UT's growth. And again, if especially with some of the new shit that the state is allowing them to do, like this whole waterfront entertainment district thing that they're talking about building, that's new because of some state law change that's allowing them to do stuff like that. That wasn't something they could do before.
How's the legislation work? Or
I don't know exactly, but like there's cafeterias and there's food service on campus, but it's never been in a full service bar restaurant. They had a Pizza Hut and a Chick-fil-A that were in like it was like a mall version, not even a mall version. It's like Target version of a Pizza Hut Chick-fil-A that they had in one of the cafeterias that I went to regularly.
Yeah.
But like outside of that, like everything that happens on campus goes through, like even that, like the employees of those Chick-fil-A's / Pizza Hut, those are R-Mark employees who are contract employees from the university. You know, and so but the way I understand this entertainment thing is it's going to be Mr. Burleson, Randy Burleson, puts a Fieldhouse Social on top of the G10 garage, and he's leasing the building, but he runs his business like he runs all his other business. He doesn't have to bring in R-Mark or some third party University of Tennessee approved employment company. He just does the job.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a new thing, having non-student residences on campus, non-student housing. There's a whole hotel complex they're wanting to put in down there as part of that thing. That's new. You know, like, and that's where it bothers me. Like, what's to stop? Because they don't have any. They're not obliged to any of the local codes or zoning or land use issues. They can build whatever they want on any land that they own. So what's to stop them from taking this Maplehurst whatever and putting a shopping center in there, and that all the businesses are paying rent to, you know, and it's a whole series of whatever. Maybe it's designed to service UT students or whatever, but it's still just a shopping center. But what stops them from building an apartment complex, and that's exclusively for graduate teaching assistant housing only or something like that? But then they're the landlord. It's just like, and again, at what point, why would they stop? The only property that they can't take as they continue to grow, especially towards downtown, is they can't take the federal building. They can't take the city-county building. They could theoretically take anything they want. They couldn't take the federal building. They could take the city-county building, I think, technically. They can eminent domain it, and they have superiority in the hierarchy of things.
That's crazy.
I believe so. I think the situation to get us to the point where they feel like they have the gall to do so might be a little bit different. But like, I think at the end of the day, they can eminent domain stuff.
Tell them to take the stadium.
They already got 5 or 7 or whatever the fuck it is. You know, like I don't know why they haven't taken all of Fort Sanders at this point. That's all shit housing. You put the right dollar figure out there, every one of those homeowners and property owners is going to sell every ounce of that.
They have to bring everything up to code, and those houses are old. And
no, that's why they bring in one of these tough people to do it. This little company out of Atlanta that they do. They're bringing them in to do it, and they don't bring it up to code. They just buy it. This tough company buys it, lets the short-term lease end, and then tears it down. Because the Knoxville Historical Society and any of the people that want to save those old Victoria buildings in the neighborhood, they have no jurisdiction. It doesn't matter. City of Knoxville Historical Project, none of those people have any power in conversation against the University of Tennessee.
Unless it was already declared historical.
I don't even think it would be that. I don't know that has any power in that conversation.
Yeah, I don't really know how that works.
I mean, that's an interesting.
I thought it adds some level of protection to where they can say this, or this cannot be done with a historical.
Well, I mean, like my gut take on it is that yes, by a city ordinance or a county ordinance, but the University of Tennessee is not subject to city or county ordinances. They don't have to follow city-county zoning or use right. I think none of that is relevant to them. They don't have to follow any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so unless it's like a state or federally protected historical site, I don't think that the university would have to blink an eye to do anything they want with it. Now there is the PR game. You know, they have the PR problem of tearing down the historical whatever. But, you know, UT wins a couple football games and everybody forgot about that PR crisis.
Sure.
So I don't know. Again, I don't know. This is me shouting from the rooftop that this is my warning call. We've got to figure something out, Knoxville, or we're just going to be the University of Tennessee with the people that live inside, the people that aren't students or faculty or employees of, but still live in and out and part of UT. And again, I'm an alumni. I've got shit on the walls. I like my UT. I do. I like my football. I like my band. Like, the band was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I've said it a million times. I'm not saying that they shouldn't exist, but I'm saying we need to have a conversation about seeing if we can't fucking freeze this goddamn footprint before they take over the entire county.
Yeah. I think trying to throw the tax revenue at them, I don't think they wouldn't blink an eye at that. They know they're still going to get their money regardless. You can't be like, well, you guys are going to make a little bit less money.
Well, I mean,
it's like, no, you guys are still going to pay, and you guys are still going to upkeep the roads, so we're still getting paid.
I know. There comes a line there where they can't. Like, there comes a point where the city can't. I mean, that's where we're at with the Gay Street Bridge. If the money was there, we'd have a new Gay Street Bridge being built right now. And now while the Gay Street Bridge doesn't particularly affect the University of Tennessee, it does have a little bit. And so if the tax revenue for the city continues to decline because they continue to have less property tax to tax, they'll either have to make that tax up on those of us they can tax, or do less stuff. And so when the Henley Street Bridge falls down, that's a state road, so the state would keep that up. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. Like, Alcoa Highway is a state road too. You'd have to get really in the weeds of which roads are city property and which are county property and which are state property to really break it down. But absolutely, at some point, if the city cannot afford to keep up its infrastructure, then access to the university will be affected by the lack of infrastructure the city is providing.
I think the city would cut funding elsewhere before they
I agree with that.
Let infrastructure go that
which is another problem.
Right.
Because they're, and again, they're not just cutting other things to make sure that UT's access infrastructure is good. They're making sure that the infrastructure is good, period. But, it's still, okay, so the University of Tennessee gobbled up 50 acres of downtown Knoxville property, and now we have to cut, this homeless program over here, or we're cutting this service, or we're closing this park, or we're going to sell this park to anybody to get that cash influx so we can spend money on this. Because that's the position we're put in, because while the population continues to grow with students and the tax revenue is not growing with it because the property that is inside the city limits keeps falling. It might be 25, 30 years from now before any of my crazy predictions come true. But again, you can't. You've got to stop the train before it gets started, or before it gets too far down the tracks, because the faster that train's going, the more weight's behind it, the longer it takes to slow it down.
I want to see if they held off on tuition increase for the fall.
That's another that's Boyd's Republicanism in play. I think he I wonder if he wants to make it run as governor again.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe he likes just being the El Presidente.
I think it's worked well for him. So yeah, I don't know. I'm open to suggestions on how we slow this train down. It's kind of get it. It doesn't make sense to me it doesn't make sense to me that's not that it doesn't make sense to me that I'm the only one, like nobody that I've talked to, like everybody kind of agrees with me, but nobody else really like is it adamantly like upset about it as I am.
I'd say the school really only affects like a certain percentage of the town, and they are a large employer, but at the same time, if you're not really involved in it, it doesn't really matter that much to you one way or the other. Like, I can still go to football games or baseball games or volleyball games, whatever.
Sure, its existence doesn't bother you, but if it's again on the
I think you'd be hard pressed to convince most of Knoxville that, like, hey, if you let them take this much land, that's going to be less much tax that comes into our coffers. You may be able to lay it out logically, but most people wouldn't really. I mean,
you lay it out like I laid it out. You say if we let them continue to go down this path, eventually they're just going to swallow up downtown Knoxville. Knoxville proper, as we know it, will no longer exist. It will all be University of Tennessee. Now, the things may still exist. We may still have Market Square, and we may still have Prez Pub down there, but Prez Pub is going to be leasing from the University of Tennessee instead of from whoever owns that building. The Wests.
Surprised they haven't taken KMA.
Yeah, that's on. I mean, they'll eat up the World's Fair Park at some point. So then all the world's like they won't eat. They won't, because that's an amenity that they don't have to pay for.
Well, that, and they'd have to take the convention center too.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's an amenity. That's something that they could sell. Like, the events come down here. Like, the events come down here that students like. It's good for students. It's good for our faculty, whom we hire to come work and live here. When they do the 4th of July festival on the 4th down there, our faculty really likes that wonderful, beautiful event that our people really like, that we don't have to pay for. You guys can keep that. We'll
get a chance to charge for parking.
We'll just work around that, right? We'll make a little money on parking or whatever. We'll lend you some cops for the day, but we don't have to pay for those things. I did get we're looking at about $500,000. So anybody out there that wants to give me $500,000, I'll get Boomsday back. That's my estimate in costing that thing out. It's my early estimate, plus or minus.
Well, I mean, they still do a big fireworks festival.
4th of July. Boomsday is Labor Day.
Right. I thought they still did. I thought for a few years they did something on like Labor Day, but it just wasn't called Boomsday anymore.
No, I don't know. I teased it in a PS to special events because I had some other stuff I was emailing special events on. I was like, PS, I've had some people want me to bring Boomsday back. And I'm waiting for the reply that says, if you ever want to do anything with me again, don't say that again. That's my guess. Do not come to me with some Boomsday talk.
I don't remember the logic of ending a period.
It was money. It's money. It was a money thing. It's expensive to do, and
for
nobody really
for a free thing,
right? And well, okay. So there's like one of the problems that I saw with it, and we got. I don't remember because it was because as football expanded in that same time frame that I was down there, they went from 10 games to 12 games a year, I think.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. And so they moved up. So football season started a week earlier. And so there was a period of time where for a long time, Boomsday was the weekend before the first football game, whether it was a home or away game. And then the last couple of years they had it, it was a football weekend. Some years it was a home game, some years it wasn't. But a couple of the last ones were home opening weekend, and it was Saturday football, or it was Sunday football, Saturday fireworks, or vice versa.
I think it was always on Sundays.
Right, but they moved it. Well, no, they moved it around because they moved it off. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whatever. And so, if you're thinking about it as far as economic impact, well, if every hotel in town is already booked up with people coming for a UT home game, if every restaurant is packed out with people that are in Knoxville, whether from the visiting teams that are here, or other people come from all over the Southeast, East Tennessee. I know of a couple people that I got a guy I know. I think he lives out in Roane County now. He's a UT alum. He's got a camper, and he brings his camper in, and he rents a space somewhere and parks his camper and stays the whole weekend, kind of thing. It's he's already doing that because it's a home game. So that money's already made, for lack of a better word. We don't need it. We don't need this other event is not making more money because all of the things that have potential to make money are already maxed out.
Yeah. And
so if you're putting another event on top of that, while it's cool and great, and for the spectator side, it's this makes a super kick-ass weekend. UT is having no problem selling on opening weekend. Every hotel in town's booked. Every restaurant's busy. Every little shop that sells orange things is selling through all their stuff. They're not going to sell more because we have Boomsday. They're certainly not going to sell less, but they're not going to sell more. And so it's well, who's benefiting? It's, who's benefiting off that? One of the premier sponsors used to be Pilot, which with their shift in format, whatever. But at the same time, even just them from their format, what's Pilot do? Gas stations and travel centers. Well, all the gas stations and travel centers have done all the sales they're going to do off of people visiting Knoxville because there's a football game this weekend. I don't need Boomsday to make those sales. I got a football game to make those sales. Why would Pilot put up $500,000, $250,000, or whatever it is that they put up as one of the principal sponsors if they're already getting everything they want with the pilot that's on the football field instead of the pilot that's on the fireworks show?
Yeah.
And so it's who's really benefiting it? It costs a lot of money to put on. That's my understanding of how it died. I think my solution, at least for the next couple of years while we still have it, is we move it over to the Gay Street Bridge. And we make it a Suttree Landing project. So we have, because that'll put it down so you can see it from the Holston. Ooh, I don't know, that might not be, that might be a problem. I might have to call some people. Because you put it on the Gay Street Bridge, it's real close to Holston.
Gas company.
Yeah, that might make a really big fireworks show on accident.
I just have to have a big insurance policy. Cover up all your stuff just in case there's debris falling.
Because I don't know, I've talked to some people about that. I know they apparently the Baxter family has no desire to sell that property. They barely do anything out of there anymore. Almost all of their stuff comes through that Baxter Avenue. The right up there on 275.
Yeah.
Like almost 99% of their business runs through there now, but they're keeping that property. They still do have some stuff down there, and it still does operate very minimally. But they have no desire to leave that property. I want to be that so bad. That seems like the right thing for me. I want to be the Baxter family. Like they own a bunch of property, or like that's like they're one of those families. The Burlesons, the Mondays. There's about 10 of them in town that just own a bunch of property. And I want to understand it. It's more than anything. I just want to understand it. I want to understand the premise. Like I can academically understand the idea of of banking land. Like that's a technical business term. You bank land,
right?
Because at the end of the day, if I buy this square of land for $100,000, it doesn't matter what happens in the world. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it's going to be worth more than $100,000.
Right.
And dollars to donuts, it's going to be more than inflation versus that $100,000 too. And so, if I can turn my cash into a piece of land that's going to grow in value faster than my cash would in any other market, it makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, well, sure, you can own that piece of land and it's going to grow in value, but you could also do something on it and make money while it's growing value too. Like the Mondays, there's the old Palm Factory building, the Palm Blind Factory. I think it's Blinds Factory.
Don't know.
Again, this is me and the Happy Holler stuff. Huge factory, like old factory building, it's gutted, emptied out. Nothing's in there right now. It's been there for fucking 20 years, empty as shit. And everybody I've talked to that's ever talked to anybody on the Monday family, there's a sign out front that says it's for sale, but the number they have on it is obnoxious. And they have, and I mean, it's like the number they have on it's really just for the piece of land, but they have it like there's a fucking 5-star resort on it. That's how they have it priced. And so, which says they're not trying to sell it. They put the sign up there just because, but they're not trying to sell it. And it's like, yeah, but you could spend, I mean, I don't know, it's a multi-million-dollar piece of land. You've obviously got the cash. You could spend $500,000 and turn that into a thing like I don't know, something that you could rent for, $500,000 a year and rent it for the next 10 years and make your investment plus some cash, and you still have X number of dollars in growth in the actual land banking thing. Like the land banking to sit is so confusing to me. But I want to the idea that I could own a thing that I have to pay taxes on annually, but it's worth more for me to just pay taxes on it and do nothing than it is to do something. It's fascinating to me.
Well, do you think it makes it a little bit harder to sell if you put up, commercial or, just some kind of brick frame?
Yeah.
It's a little hard to sell because that's going to kind of limit your customer basis. They're like, I love the land, I love the location, but I don't need this. I don't care if it's a brand new building. That's not a building that
do the
I
math.
can use.
Okay, so I bought the piece of land for X. I spent $500,000, $1 million getting it into doing a thing. I make $250,000 a year in rents. So it only takes me 4 or 5 years to pay off that construction. Get to the other side, and somebody's like, "Yeah, I'd like to buy that, but I don't want what's on it." I'll tear it down, whatever. I already made more than I spent on it. It doesn't cost me anything. It costs very little to tear it down.
Yeah.
If the $25,000 it takes me to level it is what makes the difference in the sale, and I want the sale. The problem is that these people don't want the sale. That's the confusing part that I don't understand. Like, how can you do this generationally? How can you do this? Because the Baxter family, the Daddy Baxter died last year. Now, Junior and Lady Junior, I don't know, his daughter, so basically, and it's been like a decade or so. His son runs the Holston side of the company. His daughter runs the property management side of the company.
We went to school with a Monday.
Maybe, I don't know if that's them or not. But in the Baxter family with the Holston Gas, the son runs the Holston Gases. The daughter was running the property management. Like all the properties they own, she runs that part of the company.
Yeah.
Or the companies, however they broke it down. So it's generational. Like the kids had nothing to do with it. This is stuff that Dad did, and they took over as Dad was aging. But this is just, this is just what they do. And like I talked to one of the Baxters a little while ago about some of their property. I was like, it's like, you got anything you're going to do? It's like, I've had some people approach us and talk to us about it, but we're not really interested in doing anything. It's like, how do you do that? I don't understand that. Like, you just got a piece of land with grass on it that somebody wants to pay you so that you don't have to pay taxes on it anymore. It's going to be way more than whatever you fucking spent on it 50 years ago or whatever it was when Dad bought it. Like, what's the point? Like, I don't understand it.
Just their case they ever needed to sell it.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like,
I'm enough money where they don't need to.
Right. I'm a property rights guy. If you don't want to sell it, don't sell it. I have I can't complain about that.
Right.
I wouldn't mind, and for the most part, the Baxters are good about their property. They keep them clean. They go out there and mow them. They don't let a bunch of stuff get overgrown and gross on them. Like, at least the properties that I know are theirs. The Mondays, on the other hand, they don't. They just leave their shit there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's probably a whole, condominium complex inside the Monday building of people that have moved in there because there's a door that's open all the time when you drive down the street. It's like, yeah, I would go in there. Like, if I didn't have anywhere else, there's mostly a roof. Most of the roof is solid there. It's going to be drier in there than outside.
Sure.
And so there's not a lot of tools the city can use to really get them to do anything other than. But even that, like, there's a property, and this is not a Monday or Baxter property. I don't know who owned it. I think it got sold recently, but it's further up on Central. I can't remember what was in there. Like, it looks like it used to be a car. Like a parts store, but like old school, like nice brick building, 2 or 3 stories, boarded up windows all the time. Like, but there was like that one, not even jokingly had like, that's right next to the Helen Ross McNabb Center, right next to this little funky liquor store. Used to be right up there. Else used to be right up there among a couple other places. But that was one that there's probably 30 people that lived in that building. Fires. Like random little fires. It's a brick building, so the building stayed fine, but the roof had gotten burnt off over time. And like a bunch of the windows had gotten broken out, all this kind of different stuff, and like just piles of people hanging out in the shade of the building on the outside and stuff like this. Just terrible, terrible building. And like citation after citation after citation, and there's like, whatever. We'll pay whatever we got to pay. We're not doing anything to that building. We're not going to stop it. Like, they're just like, whatever. Let's pay the citation. There's not much the city can do to make them do anything with their piece of land.
Right.
Which I agree with at the most part. Like, I'm not going to say, I think you have some moral obligation, but to make it a legal obligation might be a line too far for me.
I feel like residential, I mean, there's like essentially, I'll call it like nuisance law, basically, where you can't have like more than one broken down car in your yard.
Well, you can't have one in Knox County.
Is it?
Yeah, we didn't get cited. We got warned. This is fucking 10, 15 years. This is shortly after we moved into this house. We had an accident, and I didn't know what to do with the car, and so I had the tow guys come and drop it in the driveway. And like within a couple of weeks, I got a letter from Knox County that says you're in violation of whatever. You need to get that car out of your driveway.
I thought there was some ordinance that the city did not long ago that was kind of in conjunction. I think that's when they started allowing you to have like chickens on your property with a certain amount or whatever. But I thought that's when they had. I thought it maybe just in the city, but you could have one, not necessarily broken down, but if you were like working on your car, I don't think it could be permanent. There was some kind of there's some kind of limit to it.
Yeah, I think you're allowed to have a
couldn't be inoperable for more than like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like I understand you're building it, but
it seems like a little bit of a semantics game. I mean, because I could have made that argument with the one that we had in the driveway. It's like, I'm working on it. I bought a wrecked car. I wrecked a car. Whatever. It doesn't matter how I got a wrecked car in my driveway. I have a wrecked car in my driveway.
Right.
I'm working on figuring out what to fix, but it was quick. And there was early on when we moved in here.
Did they just threaten you with a fine? Or?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And then we got a letter on our lawn getting too long. This is early. We just had our kids. We were busy. I was not the best. Whatever. I don't care. I don't really feel bad for it, other than y'all can suck it. Boobies. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Like I just like I said, I want to be in that position where I have $10 million in physical property that I can afford to just pay the property tax and other things on and not even consider it a thing. Just like whatever. Pay for somebody to come out and mow the field I own every once in a while. Like spend thousands of dollars a year on the piece of property that I don't use and don't do anything with and not care. Sounds like a good place to be.
It's one way to control what happens in your neighborhood. It's like, well, yeah. I still own this property.
That's, I mean, that was my argument last week. It's like, if you don't want something getting built in your neighbor's yard, then buy your neighbor's yard. If they'll sell it to you. But,
right.
But like, to me, that is the only way you can truly control it like that. Like, again, on the conservative values thing, going back to poking at Eric and that kind of shit, on the conservative value side of the conversation, the only way you get to say what your neighbor does with their yard is if you own your neighbor, meaning you own their property. That's it. Like, it doesn't make any sense otherwise to me. And the only way your neighbor gets to tell you what you can do on your yard is if they buy it from you, because you choose to sell it to them. I mean, yeah. That's where I'm at on it. And again, I feel like that should be on the conservative side of the conversation, but in recent arguments, it doesn't seem to be. The most conservative person I know wants the city, county to make decisions about what you can do with your yard. Which, it's why I'm baffled. I'm not baffled. It's just, it's the consistency of their inconsistency, which baffles me, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't care. Like, I will defend to the death the right for a strip club to open up next to a church. Who said it? Was that a Thomas Paine quote? I may not like what you have to say, but I'll defend your right to say it.
Not sure. I've heard it. I don't know. I'm not sure where it came from.
That's how I feel about property rights too, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Like, I will defend. Like, I don't care. Why would I care? Like, this idea that because something exists, I have to use it. That's the conservative argument. If it exists, then people will use it. Well, sure. People that want to use it. If you don't want it, don't use it. What are we talking about?
Right.
Again, I'll go back to my donut thing. It's like, I don't want donut. Like, I have a problem. Like, I have a real problem. My bank, one of my banks is right there next to Krispy Kreme. And every morning, apparently, they get 3 dozen donuts. And they're sitting on their little thing with their coffee and whatever over there. And every time I go in there just to get change for the till, I go in there, and while the person's getting my change for me, I walk over there and eat a goddamn donut. And every time I do it, I say, I don't want a donut today. And I'll still do it. I have a problem. Now, will I walk into Krispy Kreme and buy one? No. But if they're free, I'm going to eat a fucking Krispy Kreme. I don't care if it's 6 hours cold. I'm going to eat a Krispy Kreme.
Right.
If it's free. Oh, that is my...
Free sweet treat.
Free
sweet treat.
Yeah, you can't say no to that. I can say no to a freaking Dum Dum. They have that. They have those too. They have a Dum Dum on the... They have a bowl full of Dum Dums on there for the kids.
Right.
They'll send out a freaking dog treat for your pet riding shotgun too. When you go through the drive-thru or whatever. It's a weird bank. It's a lot of building in a small space that they squeeze into that bank.
It's true.
They're good people there. I like it. Anyway, I don't know. Did I miss anything? I feel like I missed stuff. There's plenty of national bullshit.
You sent that picture of the election commission.
Oh, yeah.
Who voted on that? Or was that an actual vote?
Yeah, I don't know. So our man Chris Davis, who started this episode 30 minutes ago because he runs it in double speed or whatever he says, according to Go Vote TN, no, that's them. I don't know. I do not know who the governing body has voted Knox County number 1 in the country in Tennessee election integrity. This is a very confusing banner.
Yeah. So it was voted on like an East Tennessee group.
Tennessee election integrity ranked number 1 in the country. So like Tennessee at large is like all of Tennessee is ranked number 1, and Chris Davis is a member of the state. 3 Knox County Election Commission staff members attended day-long election or this is that the Secretary of State, who is the state body that governs elections, has elected that Knox County is the number one in, I don't fucking know. Yeah. Trey Haggart. That's right. It's Trey Haggart. It's not Haggerty. It's
Hargett, maybe.
Hargett. Trey Hargett has decided that Tennessee is the number one state in election integrity and gave all his election commissioners banners, is what it looks like. Anyway, I made a poke at Chris Davis about it because I like Chris Davis. He's one of my favorite people. So yeah. I posted this to our Facebook page and said, if only his hockey team was as good as his office was, then his hockey team would have a banner too.
Yeah.
To which I believe Matt Shears has asked who his hockey team is. Like, it's that other team in Florida that didn't get the banner.
Yeah.
There's only two, right? There's Tampa and Florida. There isn't
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Depending on the sport, like Florida has a lot of teams. They have 3 football teams.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
They have two basketball teams, 2 hockey teams, 3 football teams, 4 baseball teams, I think. 3 baseball teams. I'm just going to say Florida Marlins. No, there's 2.
Yeah, just 2.
Tampa Rays and Florida Marlins.
Yeah.
Can't believe Orlando or Jacksonville doesn't have a baseball team, in hindsight. I do find, it's one of those things, I know I've said it on here before, one of the most fascinating things in the world to me is baseball, a summer sport, only has really one truly southern team. You can't count Florida. Florida doesn't count the South. If you count Florida, they have 3.
Consider Texas part of the South?
I still don't. They do have SEC schools now, which helps, but not really.
And Midwest?
I mean,
Southwest.
I think they're Southwest. I mean, half of Texas is Southwest, half of Texas is like that. I think if you split Texas in half, north-south, you have southeast, southwest. That's the line where southeast and southwest split in the middle of Texas.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you have Dallas and Houston would be in the southeast, where Austin and some of the other stuff would be in the southwest.
Yeah.
Like that's somewhere. Like I feel like the Gulf Coast is part of it, which Texas does have. But I don't know. There's something I don't know. Texas is not like Texas is really realistically. Texas is just its own entity. It doesn't count. On the other side of Texas is the Southwest. On this side of Texas is the Southeast. Texas is just fucking Texas. Maybe that's a better way to illustrate how I see it.
We're not regional. We're just Texas.
Yeah. I mean, they're bigger than... I mean, they're as big as... If you took Texas and picked it up and dropped it... Like, if you took the eastern Texas border and picked Texas up and dropped it so that West Texas touched where Houston is, basically...
Right.
That would go to the Atlantic Ocean. Or pretty damn close. That would cover Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, and Louisiana.
There was a cool website that you could do that with.
You just
essentially,
pick it up, drop it.
Yeah, pick up different countries just to kind of like look at their perspective sizes. That if you,
I would like to see that because I just did that off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it'd be pretty fucking close.
Yeah,
like if you just centered Texas on like the Alabama Mississippi border, I think it would go well into Louisiana and well into the Atlantic Ocean.
I've seen pictures of like Alaska kind of superimposed over mainland U.S.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's just huge. Huge. Somehow I got a bunch of Flat Earth stuff in my Facebook feed, and it's been really fun.
Nice.
Some of the Flat Earth stuff. I like Flat Earthers. I think they're amazing people. I'm glad they exist.
Got an interesting way of thinking about things.
I mean, I don't know.
But half the arguments are just kind of like, why would you believe NASA?
My problem with it, it's like, of all the shit to spend my time and energy and mental capacity on, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he's amazing. He's super fun, and he makes astrophysics interesting. Like, he makes it more palatable and interesting. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not saying don't do it and don't try to figure out these things, but I'm not gonna. Like, at the end of the day, your understanding of what, Alpha Centauri is made out of is neat. But where does that really change anything? Like, that we learned this today. Am I excited? I mean, it's cool. Great. But like, does that, like, oh shit, now that we know that, we can do this. It's like, no, it's just.
I think there's some potential to lead to other like on Earth discoveries.
Maybe
of how different astrophysics works. Like,
I truly believe, like I believe the importance of NASA in technological development, 100%. Like the stuff that NASA developed in order to do the job they were tasked with, that we use every day now, that we just don't even think about, like Velcro being a stupid easy example or whatever.
Yeah,
like all sorts of little stuff.
Memory foam.
Yeah, all sorts of little stuff that was developed because of this very specific and, albeit, in my opinion, a little bit ridiculous task that they were set out to do. But there's value in that. Like I get that part of it. Like I get that there's value in the to go out and do or understand a thing that is beyond. It's going to take a bunch of stuff, and a bunch of that stuff can be repurposed into cool stuff too. Like I have no issue with that.
I don't see the idea of trying to go back to the moon again, which I think we're supposed to do sometime in the next year or so. Just like why?
To prove these flat earthers wrong.
That's not going to do anything.
I mean, you're right, but
they think the first one's fake. You think they're going to believe this one's real too?
I mean, fuck, dude. Like AI is. It's. I don't know. AI is too much. Like it's too much. Like it's super great. I love them. There's a couple different of them now, but it's basically this AI vlog of Bigfoot. Have you heard about these?
No.
It's really funny. Like it's Bigfoot if Bigfoot were like super bro.
Super what?
Super bro.
Super bro. Okay.
Like it's like, hey fam. Like it's just like that super bro-y, like, kind of like gym, like super gym rat kind of thing that you like, that kind of person or whatever. And it's this AI of Bigfoot, and he's running around the woods doing whatever he's doing. It's just, but it's like this, it's all selfie blog where he's got his hand, like you could tell, like he's holding, like, it's designed to look like he's holding the camera up in his hand and he's facing it back at him. He's like, just like ridiculous. Like it's super ridiculous, but it's like, it's a fictional, like it's a cryptid, if you will. And so it's like a fictional creature, which makes it a little easier to get past the uncanny valley because it doesn't exist, and it doesn't exist, and so it doesn't bother you. But I mean, there's like another series of like AI videos that's going around a lot is like turning. It's like this morph thing where it turns like cartoon characters to human, and like the real human on the other side is not a real human. Like it's not like they took a picture of something like, hey, that kid kind of looks like Bart Simpson, and they took Bart Simpson and morphed it into a picture of that kid. It's a completely AI generated picture that starts with a cartoon character and turns into a real person, but it's not a real person. It's a completely AI figure, but it looks like a picture of a person standing on the street corner.
Right. I read about one recently. I think it was some major company put out one that was like all AI. There was somebody, it went from like old ladies talking about something, and it went from like different things, but I don't know what company that was and what the commercial was supposed to be for.
But there's a bunch, I mean, like it's made some great content because like the Yeti ones are funny. There's a new one there's a series of ones that are stormtroopers. Those are too easy because you don't like stormtroopers, like they're in full uniform. You can't see their face moving, so like it's pretty simple. But there's another one that's just started popping up that's aliens, and it's like these aliens came down and tried to attack. And it's specifically like joking about like redneck Americans who are fighting back or whatever. And so it's like all these aliens going into like getting back to their base or whatever and be like, they came up with their fucking truck and all this shit. But it's like this whole alien, like, but like, again, like I think when it gets into the fictional creatures, it's a little easier to kind of let it go because you don't know what to compare it to. It's a fictional thing.
Right.
But like, I mean, I think the cartoon one that I was just referencing is probably the one that's scary because it's like, I mean, again, Bart Simpson turns into whatever, and it's this picture of this kid that looks kind of like Bart Simpson, but it looks like a fucking kid, period. And so like, and then they have talking versions of him, and it's like there's a tiny bit of the uncanny valley there, but for the most part, that just looks like some kid talking. And it's so close, and it's a 100%. Like the earlier version of AI that everybody was freaking out about, and it's out there too, is the one where they take like a Joe Rogan or somebody that has hours. Oh, the baby ones. Have you seen the baby ones?
I don't think I've seen.
Oh, the baby ones are the best. The baby ones are funny where they like a lot of them. They take podcast clips, and it's an AI version of Joe Rogan and Theo Von talking. And so they have these babies that have just like a little hint of whoever they're supposed to be. And so it's like this little baby with a mullet that's supposed to be Theo Von or whatever.
Right.
And it's Theo Von's voice, but it's the baby talking. Like it's the baby. You see the baby doing it, and it's other than it's a baby talking. Like I said, I think the people that have been smart about doing these things have done it with something that's obviously fictional, because it's easier for your brain to disconnect reality. But it's right there. It's so right there that if you told me right now that you took a video of whoever, a joke, we'll stick with Theo Von. Like you took Theo Von doing an interview that he does on his podcast. I don't know if it's real or not. Like, I really don't. Like, if I'm honest about it, it could be a real Theo Von interview, like he had J.D. Vance on a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't tell you if it's real or not.
Right.
Other than a whole big media upswell because J.D. Vance and Theo Von go, hey, we did not do that in our interview.
I think some states have already tried to make some kind of laws about political ads and using AI. I think they've allowed it to a certain extent. I'm not exactly sure where some of them have fallen on it. I think Rogan got one. It was like buying gold or buying something.
Oh, he's talked about it.
I think it was all just audio, but they still basically took his voice and had him supposedly promoting this product.
Yeah, I mean that was a bunch of the writer strike and a bunch of the stuff that was going on in right post pandemic, which made it extra weird timing wise. Like the use of AI in arts and stuff. Like, I mean, you could go right now, like me and you could sit here and putz around for 20 minutes on a free thing, and we could create a Soundgarden song. And it's going to sound like Chris Cornell singing. It's going to sound like the whole band playing. It's going to use all their styles and their tones and stuff like that. And somebody did it with, I think it was Drake. It wasn't Drake did it. Somebody did a Drake song.
Right.
Where they said, write a Drake song that's about this topic.
Yeah. And
then put it out. And everybody thought it was Drake. Like, the audio part's easy at this point.
I think there was an IP court case that was related to AI that came out sometime this week. Where the courts, I think one of the arguments in saying that it was okay was like it's okay if like you bought a book I think it had to do with AI learning and intellectual property of using, magazines, newspapers, etc.
Right.
to build on the language model of the AI. And I think they kind of okayed it into like, well, when you buy the book's now yours or whatever. So they were kind of okaying AI, like if you bought that property somehow.
Right. Or if it's free use property.
Right.
Or if you have a subscription to the service or whatever. Because, I mean, theoretically, it makes sense because, like, if
it's one thing to get access to, like, read it, but then to, like, I guess, I don't know.
Because you're not
using it as the language model, I think.
But like if I bought a bunch of James Patterson books because I really like James Patterson, and then I wrote a political fiction novel that sounds and feels like James Patterson, it's completely of my creation. I mean, that would be perfectly within my rights to do.
Yeah, but as long as you weren't stealing certain storylines.
I'm also a human being. I'm not a computer.
Right,
and that's where we're at, right? But I mean, that's where we're at. Like I think you could do it. I think write me a James Patterson style novel, and this is the main theme, and it could kick one out. And for the general James Patterson consumer, they like the problem. I could see where the legal problem would come up if I sell it as a James Patterson novel, but if I sell it as a James Patterson liker, if you like James Patterson, you're going to like this guy. I'm not the author though. Like, am I allowed to sell? Like, it's weird. Like, it gets gross. Like, it's I don't know. Did I tell you I watched Enemy of the State? Remember Enemy of the State?
I may have seen it years
ago.
It
was on the Hulu. It's before Will Smith started slapping people. It's Will Smith. God, what is his name? It's going to drive me crazy now. Older white guy actor.
Oh, Kiefer Sutherland? I think he was in it? No. I think a different movie.
Jack Black was in it. And
Enemy of the State?
Yeah, Seth Green was in it. Seth Green and Jack Black were like CIA tech guys.
Now it's not ringing a bell. I was thinking it was like
James Voight. Is it right? James White.
Sounds right.
James White was the bad guy. It was just, I mean, it's a whole, like what we joke about is the deep state now. Like, that's what it was. Like, that's what the whole movie was. And it was about, like, spying and the ability for the CIA and what they could do. And it's like, I was watching this movie, it's like, yeah, they could do that. That's all, like, that's easy what they're doing. And that movie, it's a good movie. Anyway, forgot about that movie we watched the other day. I don't know. Like, I got there, like, my head jumped there because I was thinking about how, like, I won't watch Terminator anymore. I don't think I'll ever watch a Terminator movie again.
Still haven't seen the new one.
Time travels. The time travel's where I draw the line. Like, that's my one. I can't get there. There's only like 3 time travel movies ever that I've not hated.
Yeah.
Like when Harry Potter dabbled in it, I got really pissed off. I didn't like it. But Back to the Future was great. But there's not many. Like when you get into time travel, I'm done. If Star Wars ever touches time travel, I quit. I will quit Star Wars. I'll hate it forever. George Lucas, you're not dead yet. Do not let Disney put time travel into Star Wars.
Don't do it.
All of the Avengers movies. As soon as Doctor Strange goes back in time and they start doing time travel shit, I was done. It was it. Like everything they built up, I was like, these are great, fun, silly action movies. Don't really care about them. They're fun to watch. I enjoy them. And then time travel, I'm done. I haven't watched the new. Like I cannot watch. I have not brought myself to watching the new. Like Deadpool 2 is when the Deadpool series started touching on it. And apparently it's a big part of Deadpool 3, and I have not watched Deadpool 3 because of that.
That's still pretty good. That was pretty funny. It's got good comedy writers in it.
I mean, I've been dying. I mean, the Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman together. It's been years in the making. I'm so excited about it. And it's just, I cannot spend, like, I can spend his disbelief for a lot of things.
Oh, Hugh Jackman?
That's what I said.
I thought you said Jack Black.
No.
So I was like, wait, I don't think he wasn't in that movie.
Minecraft movie was kind of fun.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
We bought it.
I was curious to see the new Wes Anderson movie.
Which one?
What's it called? It's got Benicio del Toro. I think Scarlett Johansson's in it. Michael Cera. I think it came out just a couple weeks ago. I like Wes Anderson movies.
Oh, yeah, the weird... Okay, yeah.
I'm not too familiar on like the premise of it.
It has a weird, hotel or Policio. It's something about a hotel or something like that. There's definitely some... Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He had a different movie that came out years ago that was about a hotel. That was good too. Had Ray Fiennes in it.
Yeah, this I don't know. There's the like Michael Cera comes out of the cockpit with the bomb.
Yeah,
That's not like yeah. I have was that Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, she's in it.
Okay. The new Scarlett, she's in the new Jurassic Park movie too.
Did see that.
I think they're starting to beat that horse a little tad. Because this is the third reboot. At this
I
point.
guess you can kind of keep coming up with different storylines for it.
Well, they just keep making like there's another island where they were doing all their.
That's all you got to do. It's like, hey, well, there's another island that nobody talked about, but somebody found it, so now we got to talk about it.
Right, we
got to go back and visit and see what's going on. Because scientists are just, as much as they abhor it, they're too curious to see like what dinosaurs in real time day or whatever current day happens.
All right, so you got to get weird, son.
Oh, let's see.
Scientists, give us some crazy science. I think that's where we need the weird to be right now.
I saw one like dash cam video, but there was I'm seeing it was a fireball streak across the southern skies. It happened like a day or two ago.
That.
I think someone said they had a shot, like a local shot of it.
Yeah, I did. I think I saw that one.
I think the one I saw online was from like South Carolina, but I think I saw like the local. Yeah, what did they call it? I saw one guy that was talking about the actual name for it.
Or was it the?
It was about
the Hubble telescope coming back into.
NASA said it was about the size of a shopping cart as it streaked through the sky. They called it a meteor, but I thought they had a funky name for it. There's one guy that knew all about it. He was like, that travels at like 400,000 miles per hour, but, when it comes into our atmosphere, it slows down to about the speed of a golf ball, so it was only a couple hundred miles an hour.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like, again, I will lean on my to Joe Rogan on this one. If it's going to come, it's going to hit me right here. This is what I want. If you're going to bring the big rock from the sky, put it right here.
I think it was a couple months ago. There was a cool video of like somebody's like ring camera at their house. I want to say it was up in like Minnesota or something somewhere that actually caught like a meteor like striking. They had like a concrete driveway or like a paver driveway. I mean, you could hear it on the camera like boom. It was really tiny. It didn't like mess up their driveway at all. They probably had a nice little divot in it, but
see, now I want to know
you
what
like
it
caught
was.
on camera that actually like came down and like hit somebody's yard.
I mean, there was the event. Was it like the 30s in Russia? It's a meteor event.
I'll say that was like late 1800s, early 20th century. I have to keep
Like
reminding myself
destroyed,
that the last century was the 20th century.
Yeah, like destroyed like in like tens of thousands of acres of woodland. Just happened to land out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
but like its flight path as it got to whatever, it just blew trees off their roots as it flew by.
yeah. There's photos of the trees that are just bent the fuck over for miles and miles.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There was one over Russia, I think, in the past few years that was like close enough. And I don't know if it was a sonic boom or what, but like it shattered like windows.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like the speed of it, or
Yeah,
the sound of it coming through.
Yep. Again, right here, right in the middle of the forehead. If you're going to hit the ground, hit me, please.
I thought they had a cool name for it. I guess they're just calling it a fireball.
I mean, fireball's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, one more. Let's finish this off with one real weird. That ain't weird. Neil deGrasse Tyson makes that shit understandable.
Let's see here. Yeah, I think we already mentioned that one. Got an Alaskan brown bear has a new shiny smile after getting a huge metal crown for a canine tooth.
What?
Oh, yes.
So you had a bad cavity? Broke it off?
Let's see if it mentions here. Got a silver-colored tooth. And it's first-of-a-kind procedure for a bear.
Why?
I guess it did have a bad tooth because they did a root canal on the same tooth 2 years ago when Tundra, the bear, re-injured the tooth. So they gave him a new, stronger crown. Now it's a titanium alloy crown.
When he rips somebody's spleen out with that, everybody's going to be really mad.
This is the largest crown ever created in the world. It has to be published.
But why did they need to do it?
I guess it's been at the zoo. I guess it's not even a wild bear.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes more sense. I just assumed it was a wild bear for no good reason, honestly.
I did read about a bear they found recently that it was basically, I think it was the top of, kind of those big blue, like plastic barrels.
Oh, update, sorry. According to Michelle Ivester of Knoxville, the election integrity banner was given by the Heritage Foundation. So take that for what you will.
Okay.
So anyway, sorry, you were saying. I apologize. I just saw that update, which was from 8 hours ago because I didn't pay attention.
No. It was like Michigan or somewhere where they'd seen it a few times on like a wildlife camera, but I was asking, it was kind of like big blue plastic barrels, but it somehow had like one of the lids like literally around its neck for a good like year or two before they finally were able to like, I guess, track him down and actually get it off his neck.
Yeah.
So they were kind of amazed that it was still eating with this, probably 3 foot ring basically around its neck.
I don't know. I don't know why. It just made me think of my favorite thing ever was a group of scientists were trying to study zebras, and with like, how do you track a zebra? You got to put a tag on it of some sort,
right?
So they're putting collars on them, and their first when they were doing their, when they were like looking through their data and stuff like that, they're like, man, a lot of zebras get eaten by lions. All of our zebras are getting eaten by lions. I didn't realize that there were that many zebras, because they were trying to like extrapolate, like, you know, they would put a tag on one that was in a herd of like 20, and it's like every time they would put one in, it would get eaten. And so they just like, man, they're really going through these zebras. And then they realized that that's because it killed the zebra camouflage. And so when the lions were chasing after the zebra, that collar was a distinction, because the whole point of the zebra camouflage is they blend together into one big mass. And so it made one pinpointable to the lion attacking, and so they would just pinpoint the one. And
my first thought was it had like a blinking red light at night.
Yeah, no, it was just that like it was a collar that it broke the pattern.
Right.
And so you have this big complicated pattern that is a bunch of zebras in a herd, and then this one thing, and so the lions figured out that one thing, and so they were killing 1 in 20, but it was always the one with the collar.
I always wonder about some like kind of pack type animals, of how that one that has a collar around its neck doesn't really get ostracized. Like, something's not right about you. We don't trust you
You're
anymore.
weird. You don't look like us.
You disappeared for like 2 days, come back with this necklace. You're not one of us anymore.
Who you sleeping with? You've been cheating. All right, buddy. Last call.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, that's a show. I mean, we had like a major Supreme Court decision come down. Iran.
There was a few. They decided on like 5 or 6, I think.
We got all sorts of craziness happening. But yeah, again, a whole world exists without federal politics and Donald Trump. You're welcome, everybody. I was going to be so smooth. I had the button ready, and then I whiffed. I whiffed on the button, everybody. Almost Agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, go to the website, almostagreement.com. Share what we go on there. Go to your favorite podcast provider. Get us there. Like, friend, share, follow. Text us to your friends. Do what you can do to support the show. Next week might be a little different because of the holiday. We will be taping maybe on the 4th of July, maybe on the 3rd. And then I'm out of town, so we may skip a week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. You'll get shows. Don't worry about it. We're going to do what we do. We hope you're doing what you're doing. If you need anything from us, almostagreement at gmail.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. I meant to make fun of Ogles. Ogles talking about deporting the guy that won the primary in the New York mayor's race. Yeah, I can't remember who said it. There's a great quote. It's like, apparently we have a challenge to Tim Burchett for saying stupid shit on Twitter. Yeah, we'll follow up with that. We'll see about deporting somebody. Anyway, I want you to bye, everybody.